Previously on Work From Home Podcast.
Sabi ko nga, you cannot really fully prepare for anything. There has to be a point where you will decide to jump
Yes.
and see how it goes.
Failure for me is just a word for mistake. It's when you experience failure and you were able to evaluate the failures or the mistakes that you did, then that is the time for me that I think you'll become successful, or that you'll be able to improve if you can
Yes.
evaluate what mistakes you did, what steps lead you to that situation. So yun naman yung sa akin. Sir Fitz, you mentioned earlier about shifting your mindset from being an employee to an entrepreneur. Can you tell us like a bit of, give us an idea how you were able to shift your mindset?
All right. So, one of the things that really helped me shift my mindset was reading success stories of entrepreneurs. So, I had a friend na yung tatay niya nakasubscribe sa Entrepreneur Magazine.
Mhm.
And madalas ako tumambay. I frequently hang out in the house of my friend because that's where we play video games and hang out. So sometimes I would read those magazines, and those were the first source of knowledge that I have about entrepreneurship. There's a lot of lessons that you will learn when you read about the success stories of other entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
They would always mention how different they are when it comes to thinking. I remember one article na she's an importer of paper, a handmade paper, and she joined a trade show, no? And from that trade show, she got like 1 million pesos worth of orders, which is way beyond yung capacity niya
Mhm.
na mag-produce, no? And I remember sinabi niya na she accepted it because it's a good problem.
Yeah.
So, naisip ko, di ba, problems are supposed to be bad. We're supposed to avoid experiencing problems. Pero this person, she accepted that because she thinks that it's a good problem. So yung concept ng good problem, that immediately changed my how I look at the word problem. Pag
Mhm.
sinabi pa lang good problem, it's a challenge that can potentially help you become better, that can
Mhm.
help you improve, no? Sometimes people will say, naku, problema yan. It doesn't necessarily mean na it's bad. You can always think of it na, is this really a bad problem or is this a good problem? Is this simply a challenge
Mhm.
disguised as a problem? A challenge that can help me become better, improve. So I got my first ideas, first lessons about shifting my mindset from reading success stories, magazines. During those times, marami na ring websites. There are a lot of entrepreneurs writing online. I remember during that time, Multiply pa.
Mm.
Doon nag-essay writing yung mga entrepreneurs. Right now, it's in Medium. But there are online forums back then na entrepreneurs were just willing to share what they know, what they experience. And then, one of the discussions that I would always read sa mga online forums would be the books that they were reading. So, from blogs and online articles, I bought books, mostly biography, autobiography, because again, these are success stories that helped me. And after that, these online forums would organize networking events, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is one of the best ways to learn how to be an entrepreneur, which is to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs. So I attended networking events. I attended um, meetups, no?
Mm-hmm.
Formal, both formal and informal meetups. Minsan, ano lang talaga, um, it's just a Friday night where we're just meeting up in this bar. Anyone who's free can just come. So I I needed the courage to go there alone, even if I didn't know anyone. So during the first few times, it was awkward. I was just quiet in a corner. But eventually, the faces become more familiar. I was more open to talking to them. Siguro by the fourth or fifth meetup, yun, I already have acquaintances,
Mm-hmm.
and I would be meeting people left and right. And even one of my tech startups, I met my co-founder there in a convention. It was lunch break. I was eating alone. And then this person sat next to me to eat his lunch. So we got to talking. And yeah, before I know it, 3 years after, we were still in contact with each other. I needed a co-founder in a startup that I was trying to pursue. And I realized that this person has the skills that I
Mm-hmm.
needed. So I contacted him, and yeah, he became one of the co-founders of my startup. So yeah, networking would be the next step into changing your mindset, because this time you are interacting in real life with other entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess those are the two biggest things that help me uh, mold or shape the entrepreneurial mindset that I have now. Plus, of course, actually putting up a business and being an entrepreneur, because there
Mm-hmm.
are some lessons that you can only learn from your own experience. But by this time, I already have a wealth of knowledge and wisdom from the things that I've read and from the lessons that I've heard from other entrepreneurs.
Yes, sir. I don't know who said this, but I always tell my team or the students that your network is your net worth. So yeah, your
Yes,
network
that's
is
true.
really important. Mm-hmm. You mentioned several magazines, online magazines earlier, and like Medium and Entrepreneur magazine. Is there any online application that you cannot live without?
Online application. Well, I actually use a lot of apps,
Mm-hmm.
but I always go back to my to-do list sa the reminder app sa cellphone. Well, I use the Apple ecosystem. So, nasanay ako with my iPhone, iPad, and MacBook. So, I like how it synchronizes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say the native reminders app is the app that I use the most, because it helps me really organize the things that I needed to do. So one of the things that I learned is that our brain is poor at remembering details, no? So whenever there's something that I needed to do, I want to write it down, or in this case, put it in a to-do list,
Mm-hmm.
so that I don't have to remember it anymore. So put a date, reminder, a time, and then all throughout the day, every time that I have an idea that is related to a particular task that I have, I write it down. When I'm driving, I use the voice memo or voice recorder. So I think more than the apps, what has helped me to become really productive is the habit of taking the time to organize the things that I needed to do. So I have a friend na ang to-do list niya parang 20 plus every day. Sabi ko, I don't want to to be as busy as that. So one of the habits that I have is, yes, I have a to-do list, but at the end of the day, I look at my to-do list, I pick my big three. So
Mhm.
these are the three tasks that I need to accomplish tomorrow. All the
Mm.
rest, bonus na. So when you force yourself to do that, yung priority mo mas nagiging apparent, no? Kasi there's so many things that you need to do. You only have to pick three. Ano yung pipiliin mo? Siyempre yung mga tasks that is very important to you. No, if
Mhm.
there's a task there that is connected to, for example, to my family, syempre, kasama yon. Kasi my family is my most important thing to me. No? Kahit
Mhm,
na ba
mhm.
may client meeting, di ba? Siguro, in recent years, because of the pandemic, di ba? There was a time na I had to accompany my father to the doctor, and I know because of the health protocols, that would take a whole day.
Mhm.
And I have a couple of clients who wants to have a consultation the next day. So that will really force you to know yourself, to know what your priorities are. So
Mhm.
I told myself, of course, I will prioritize my dad. We have to go to the hospital. I told my two clients, can we set the meeting the other in another day, because
Mhm.
I have a personal matter to attend to tomorrow. So yeah, I have my to-do list. I think right now I have like 70 plus tasks there.
Wow.
But it doesn't overwhelm me because yun nga, at the end of the day, it's just a matter of choosing what are the three things that I want to do and prioritize tomorrow. So, yung to-do list ko, yeah, ang dami, di ba? But
Mhm.
it's not really, it's like the Eisenhower matrix. There are tasks there that are urgent and important.
Yes.
There are things that are not urgent and not important. I actually have a category sa to-do list ko na this is nice to do. Yun lang yung
Ah.
category ko na I think it would be nice to do this stuff. So sometimes when I'm thinking of something to do, for example, it's the weekend, I want to relax. Even some of the ideas na I think it would be an interesting thing to do or an interesting activity, I refer to my to-do list
Mhm.
and see, I've always wanted to learn how to solve a Rubik's cube. So it's in my to-do list. So I have a few hours free. I want to do something creative. So yeah, I guess that's the thing that I will do. So
Mhm.
stop using your to-do list as if it's all just about work. So my to-do list, it's my both life and work task.
Mhm.
It's properly categorized, and I set reminders to the things that, of course, time sensitive. But ultimately, one of the activities or one of the habits that I have is before I sleep, I choose which three tasks will be my priority for tomorrow. That has helped me become productive.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's why that's the app that is the most important to me.
Mhm.
And I'm thankful that there's the cloud na masira man yung phone ko, mag-breakdown yung laptop ko, mabasag yung iPad ko, I can just buy a new one and it's all there, because I think that's the most important digital information that I have,
Mhm.
no?
Mhm.
Because I will be so lost the next day if I don't have that to-do list, no, in my reminders app. Yeah. But of course, yeah, for my projects, I have Notion, I have
Mhm.
Trello, all those
Mhm.
apps. But on a personal level, that's the most important thing sa akin. Yung aking personal to-do list, no? It's not just a straightforward list. I already have my own categories, my color coding and
Mhm.
all. So it works for me. It's a system that I developed through the years. And yeah, I am actually very dependent on it.
Mhm. Follow-up question lang, sir, no? That 70 things in your to-do list, is that going to be like per year, or is that your like bucket list for a lifetime?
Okay. So I actually have a different list for my goals.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
believe that, of course, we have short-term goals,
Mhm.
medium and long-term goals. So, for example, one of my medium-term goals is to uh, buy a rental property, to put up a rental property business. I'm planning to buy an apartment.
Mhm.
No, of course, I cannot. You cannot just do that in one step. No, so there
Mhm.
are several steps. So the steps, that's what I put in the to-do list. So for
Mhm.
example, uh, buying an apartment, what are I usually have a planning session. This is something that I do at the end of the year. I set my goals for next year with respect to the goals that I have for my medium-term goals and my long-term goals. So once I
Mhm.
am able to set my goals for next year, I would brainstorm on all the things that I need to do. And sometimes there will be prerequisites. For example, I want to buy an apartment. Of course, I would have to first know where the location where I would
Mhm.
scout for the property. So that thing would now go to my to-do list.
Mhm.
So in under important but not urgent would probably be drive around this area and drive around Cavite and see
Mhm.
if it's a good uh, uh, location to buy an apartment.
Mm.
So that's there. So once I'm able to do that, I go back to my goal. So let's just say na parang ayoko sa Cavite.
Mhm.
What if Pasay? So now that goes to my to-do list. So I have my goals on a different, actually it's in Notion, but the list that I go through every day is there. The actual task, what I what I've learned is that yung to-do list mo, it should be very concrete.
Mhm.
Kasi kung vague yung instructions, it's hard to start.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's also the reason why you will procrastinate. For example, write an article. For me, that's already a vague task.
Mhm.
No, write an article.
About
Uh,
what?
yeah. For example, a magazine commissioned me to write an article
Mhm.
about mutual funds. No,
Mhm.
uh, I can write in my to-do list, write an article about mutual funds. But for me, because it's still something vague, I would break it down. I would actually put there, number one, think of a title of the article. Number two, create a mind map of the article. What are the subheadings, etc. And then number three, find 30 minutes to write the article and things like that. It's really
Mhm.
broken down, and that's why I have 70 plus tasks there, no?
Mhm.
Kasi I try to be as detailed as possible, because the reality is all throughout the day there will be distractions, there will
Mhm.
be interruptions. So if I decide na at 2 o'clock I will write the article about mutual fund, and then suddenly I get a call from a client, diba? So I would feel guilty of not being able to finish the write an article task. But if I broke it down into like, think of a title of the article. So I am in the process of thinking the title of the article, which would what take around let's just say 10 minutes. If suddenly a client calls and I would go back to the task, parang it's easier to go back to it. Okay, sige, back to thinking of the title. I would probably I was planning to do the mind map and writing at this time, pero naubos yung oras ko with the client. Okay lang, I can just schedule it later, siguro after dinner. Diba? But now, I still feel accomplished because I was able to tick off something on my list. No? So that's the beauty of having a detailed to-do list, na to be as concrete as possible, to have the task as simple as possible, so that it feels good to check off things on your list.
Yes.
So it provides motivation. So that's what I like about that system that I have. So yeah, that's why a lot of people are actually surprised. You have 70 plus on your to-do list. Yeah, but those are just like minor things. A lot of that will only take me 5 minutes to do. What's important for me is that I pick 3 tasks that I want to accomplish by today. No? So all or nothing. No? These are 3 tasks that I've thought about yesterday, na ito yung pinaka-crucial because it reflects on what I value the most in my life, what are the things that I really prioritize. So yeah, so that's how my daily routine goes as far as my productivity, my work, and my life is concerned. Yeah.
I agree with that. Because when you were talking about being detailed, like in every single thing, it reminded me of the time when I was creating a course, the draft only, and I didn't specifically wrote down what should I write like today. I just have like different modules and different titles, and I said write the draft. So I was feeling so overwhelmed, and I don't even know where to start. So yeah, I guess you really have to be really detailed for you to accomplish something.
Sometimes that's the reason why we procrastinate. Our brain is resisting the work because it doesn't have an idea what to do, because yung task natin is so vague. So even if it will take you an hour to write down the detailed versions of the task, sometimes it's worth it, because later on you'll find yourself checking one task after another, because your brain is not stopping you from working, because it knows exactly what it needs to do.
Yes.
Yeah, so your brain will just say, oh, gawin mo na yan. Dali-dali lang gawin yan eh. Di ba? So, yeah, one of the struggles that I really had, especially when I was just starting to write on my blog, was being consistent with the articles that I was putting out. And yeah, every time I sit in front of the computer, hindi ko na realize 1 hour na ako staring at a blank page because I didn't know what to write about.
Yes.
So when I learned na don't think about writing an article, just think of the title that you want to write about. So thinking of the title, trying out different versions, alam mo yun, playing with SEO and all. But just that activity, it will take me around 10 minutes. No, I would probably already have an idea. I think this is a good title, etc. And then once I am set on a title, sometimes the article writes itself just from the title, right? So yeah, I realized na we have to also work with how we think. Of course, this may not apply to everyone, but for me, that is what I found effective when it comes to doing tasks na kailangan ng creativity, kailangan ng analysis, kailangan ng... So as much as possible, I avoid setting up vague to-do list, no, to do items. So yeah, So that's what I do to avoid or to minimize procrastination
Mhm.
and resistance to working.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that information. It really helped me. And I know it's going to help a lot of people as well. Um, any advice that you can provide the work from home nation?
All right. So one of the things that I learned as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, is that you cannot really do everything alone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to learn how to outsource. It's important to learn how to delegate because you have to value your time. So if you find yourself doing tasks that you could have otherwise outsourced to someone else, do that. Because as a business owner, your main job is to find ways on how to grow your business. Diba? So if you're spending hours doing the accounting of your business,
Mm-hmm.
of course, if you're starting, go ahead. It's important to learn how to do everything, but don't be stuck in that place.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that slowed down my growth as an entrepreneur. I didn't want to outsource. I didn't want to delegate. I always believe that if I want something done right, I should do it myself. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a poor mindset. That's something that will not help you grow. So it's important to be systematic with the things that you do so that it will be easier to teach or to train someone to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I think that's one of the lessons that freelancers and work from home people should learn so that their work becomes easier. They have more time to pursue bigger things, I would say. Think of ways how they can grow their business and keep things interesting, I would say. Because once you fall into the self-employment trap, things will start to feel like you're back at being a corporate slave. So
Yes.
learn to delegate, outsource, how to handle and manage a team, help other people grow as well, because that's really how you can grow as an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
improve as a person. So
Yes.
that's my advice to all the people listening to this episode.
Thank you. Thank you. I always tell my client, you can do anything, but you cannot do everything. Yes,
Yes,
right.
that's true.
Um, would you ever go back to the corporate world?
No, not anymore. Probably because I learned that my place is really outside the cubicle.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that this is really where I am most productive, where I am most inspired. And yeah, I cannot see myself working back in the corporate world or being stuck in the office. Even my businesses,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't want to be that big boss. I hire a CEO and a supervisor to go to the office every day to be that boss to the employees. I'm the
Oh.
boss who just visits the office when I have the time. Well, at least once a week. So
Mm-hmm.
I have my CEO and supervisors and managers who do the office work, quote unquote, for me. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't see myself going back to the corporate world, being in an office ever again. Because I enjoy my freedom, my my time freedom, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything that you want to promote, and where can we find you online for some of the people, a few people that don't know you yet?
All right. So I have a online portal
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to promote my Facebook, Instagram blog. So you'll find all the links to my portal on my portal, which is at readytoberich.com. Ready to be rich.com. So sa readytoberich.com, you'll find links to my TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube channel, and even my podcast. But siguro special mention na rin yung podcast ko, which is entitled The 80%. So to the
Mm.
people who are listening to this episode, they can just search The 80%. So 80.
Mhm.
So it's all about personal finance with particular focus on behavioral economics.
Mhm.
So the 80%
Oh.
podcast. So yeah, that's it. And hope that I can hear from them soon, either on Facebook or online or through email.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, thank you so much for your time, and it's really an honor having you here, Sir Fitz. And to all the Work from Home Nation, I know that you learned a lot today as well. And like what I always say, be kind, be humble, but you can always be a badass. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.